I decided to try and make a skit from scratch in just 24 hours. That includes writing the script, animating, and editing, all in just 24 hours. This challenge was both harder and easier than I was expecting it to be. You'll see what I mean later. Alright, so here's the plan. I'm going to start by writing the script out in Google Docs, just as bare bones as I can to save as much time as possible. All the script needs is what characters are going to be in it, where the skit takes place, and then a small breakdown of what's actually going to happen. I started off by writing the script for the skit. I had a few different ideas in mind of just general things, but not a specific idea planned out ahead of time. So I started by opening Google Docs and just writing some stuff down and talking out loud to myself. Alright, starting, it is about 1:30 p.m. Let's get started. Normally I wouldn't do this, or I normally wouldn't be writing in Google Docs, but for this I'm gonna, just because it's gonna go quicker. Alright, I need a general concept. Let's, add a title for our skit. Alright, there we go. Characters that'll be present, box, or me. Needs to be thing happens, problem, funny thing, right? That's like basic skit formula. I could make it like a meta thing about like the process of making or writing a script taking forever. Just gonna be me. Setting, gonna be two places. There's gonna be my computer desk, and then there's gonna be a like outside scene. Okay, plot. Calling it a plot is kind of wrong, I guess, because there's not going to be much of a plot. It's comedy. I'm going to sit down and start writing script. I'll make these bullet points. Maybe instead of bullet points, I'll do numbers. So I sit down at my desk, start writing a script. We will do a like epic montage of me typing. We'll have a shot of the sun going down and then coming back up. Slam my head down on the desk. Multiple shots of interacting with animals. Alright, that's the script writing done. I'm gonna have future me voiceover a little thing to explain to you what I actually need to do now. Writing the script was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It only took me about 10 minutes, which is a lot shorter than I thought it would be, with it basically being my first skit. Now that I think about it, why did I make a 24-hour skit for my first skit? Ignoring my stupidity in even doing this challenge, the next thing I needed to do was get all the skins ready for my character. To do this, I took the high-resolution version of my skin and brought it into Krita, where I could manually add a little bit of a shadow and the stubble that I want on the character. So right now this is voiceover, unlike with the script part, because I didn't really talk at all while doing this. So from what you can see that I'm doing, I'm basically just placing random dots on the face. Didn't really have a plan going into this, so random dots was really the best I thought I could do, and then ended up adding a little bit of a shadow underneath those, but I feel like that exaggerated the effect in a nice way, and I'm happy with how this actually turned out. Now that the skin was ready, I needed a set to actually have everything happen in. So I booted up Minecraft, opened up a new world, and just looked for a spot I thought looked nice. My main thought process when building the set is to keep it as bare bones as I can, as to avoid building anything that's not going to be visible in the final animation. Since time is very important for this, that meant building the set as small as I could, and you might actually recognize the room I'm building right now as the room I've been in for the kind of recap sections of this video. By the way, not sure if you've noticed that little guy in the corner. I'm trying to be quiet, he's sleeping. But I don't have a name for him yet, so if you have any ideas, why don't you leave them in the comments and I'll choose the one I like best. The first part of the skit that I animated was me sitting in the chair, and that's it. This part alone took me about 40 minutes to do to get it even close to a point that I liked. Now I can delete all of those. How's it look at camera? Rotate that a bit more, and then he needs to be here. We'll have lower body like that. We'll actually make Get assigned back. How fast do I want him getting into the chair? Not that fast. Actually make leg start lifting up. We just gotta animate the chair. There. And line back. Alright, yeah, I like that. That is a start. This next scene was of me typing on the keyboard, and the actual character animation was the easy part. What I did spend a lot of time on though with this scene was the camera movement. I wanted it to look all like an action shot, even though it's just me typing on a keyboard. But also, to help future me, I wanted to make sure you couldn't see the computer screen at all, because that meant more compositing I had to do. And I really did not want to have to track that shot with how much camera movement I had. The next shot that gave me a lot of trouble, which it really shouldn't have, was the time lapse of the sun going around, setting, and then rising, and then setting again, and rising again. If you're familiar with the BBS mod, you might know of the curve clip in the camera editor. This specifically is made to help you animate the sun. I didn't know about this. Why did nobody tell me about this? What I tried to do, which is dumb and bad and don't do it, was I tried to use the action editor to constantly use the /time add command to just make the sun go around and around however many times I wanted it. This was, like I said, bad and wasted me a ton of time. I think like over an hour. So I'm a little mad at myself for that, but it ended up working and it looks good, so I don't really care, I guess. The last scene I'm going to cover in detail is the part where he is looking around outside the house and it's all like smooth. The reason I'm going over this isn't because it's difficult. It's because I had never done it before and I was very happy with how easy it actually ended up being. This shot took me literally 2 takes to get right, but I used a tracker clip attached to the character's head and then recorded outside of the editor using the cinematic camera to make it all smooth. Overall, the scene could have been better. There's not much detail in the background. I just wanted some cool looking first person shot, so there you go. Alright, the final step for me was just to add sound effects and do a couple cuts where I needed them to do a little transition between things. My least favorite part of these is honestly the editing. I just have to spend a ton of time looking for sound effects if I don't already have them, or looking through the sound effects I do have to just try and find something that works. I ended up cutting this one really close, which is a surprise with the fact I finished actually animating 4 hours after I started. And then I forgot about it until like 10 a.m. the next day, and I had 3.5 hours left. Now, most people would probably say that defeats the purpose of a 24-hour challenge if you can technically do the whole thing in less than 10. But with my ADHD brain, the fact I even finished this at all is a surprise. So go me, I guess. As I'm sure you've all been waiting for, here is the complete video in its entirety. So that was the 24-hour skit challenge. I'm sure you see what I meant by it being both easier and harder than I was expecting it to be. Overall, I'm happy with how the result turned out. It obviously has some places it can be improved, but that's just gonna happen with a 24-hour challenge. If you'd enjoyed this, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I plan to do more of this in the future, and this lets me know that you actually want to see more of it. Anyway, that's it from me today. Have a good one.